I felt good. Like, some days you just feel like when the ball hits your hands, the ball just feels different. Today was one of those days, and it didn't start off that way because I had some turnovers and I probably was playing a little bit too fast. So I just told myself I'm gonna just slow it down just a little bit, and then it was off to the races after that.
Welcome in, everyone. It's Hold My Banner here on Nesson Nation. The Celtics, welcome to Boston. Hashtag different here. 123-117 win over the Knicks at the Garden on Tuesday in a really back and forth kind of interesting game. Ountae Campbell, Adam Kaufman is the juggernaut Eastern champion. Yeah, just putting it out there now.
Uh-oh.
Boston Celtics. Look, they're beasts of the East, man. Look at this. Wins in 7 of 10, but more recently, 4 of 5. A very tough stretch going in, obviously, against the Magic and Pistons at home, at Minnesota, at Cleveland, a back-to-back, back home against the Knicks, a game that we previewed, looked ahead to, talked about just a little bit with Sean Grande, the longtime voice of this team, a couple of days ago here on the show, and he even said as we were coming off, I wish we'd clipped it up, if the Celtics win this game against the Knicks, we may have to reintroduce or reevaluate or however he worded it, the whole way we're looking at this team. Well, guess what? Up to 6th in the East.
Yeah.
Still 2.5 back of second place. Now, an increasing number of reports that Jason Tatum intends to return.
Of course.
It's all turning green, man.
I feel like it is. It's turned green. Not even turning green. It's turned green at this point. I am sold. I'm sold.
No more tanking.
You ready to play on June 5th? You know what happens on June 5th, right?
Game 1 of the finals?
Game 1 of the NBA
Love that.
Finals. Are you ready to play? That's how I'm feeling right now coming in. And, last episode I came in and I was like, the Celtics feels a little off. But you know what I noticed? I feel like this team is now buying into the fact that this is Jaylen Brown's team. We're not doing the Jason Tatum spray out, shoot threes.
Okay.
That's Tatum way. The Brown way is pump fake, one dribble, get to that basket, pull up, floaters,
mid-range,
all the way to the rim, mid-range, back to the basket a little bit more. Like, it's more of the team buying into that identity of we're going to play how our leader plays. And our leader does it a little differently than the guy that we had wearing number 0 doing it before. So I'm loving that it's seeming like this team is finally figuring out their identity. We asked Sean if they had one, and now it seems like they do.
Jaylen's playing great. He dropped 42 points, season high in that game against the Knicks. Very efficient. I've been critical at times of the efficiency. Not this time. 16 of 24, 8 of 9 from the stripe. Had a plus 15 rating in his roughly 40 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah.
Third 40-plus point game this season. Second in the last 3 games, I think. He's been awesome. He has been awesome. I wasn't going to do this. Just forgive me in advance there in the YouTube chat. We read your comments. We love you. We appreciate it. Be critical. Be complimentary. I don't care. Just, keep it above board. I feel like you're making me do this. Intentionally, you're making me do this.
What am I?
Well, you just said they have finally embraced the way their leader plays. This is not Tatum ball. This is Brown ball.
Yeah.
Well, I just finished telling you how at some point we keep hearing Tatum's coming back. He's coming back.
Uh-oh.
Is this going to be a problem?
Oh, don't do this to me, Adam.
Well, now I'm asking because now
don't do this to me, Adam.
You're hitting me with they're finally playing in a way that suits them where Jason Tatum is not available, and they're playing great in a wide open East. I'm not sitting here and denying what they can do with Jason Tatum.
Right.
Jason Tatum is incredible. They work in concert together. We've seen it for years. They won a championship.
Yes.
It's great. But right now, this roster looks very different than anything either of them has had to deal with together.
You know why I don't want to go there, and I don't even think that will be an issue, is one, this team won't look the same probably when Jason Tatum enters into the fold.
So you're waiting for moves, too.
A guy that we'll talk about a little bit later, Anfernee Simons,
We're trading him every day here on the show.
Is dangled in trade rumors every day, by Celtics Nation.
Hold My Banner is going to be renamed Trading Anfernee Simons until further notice.
Which can make the team look a little different.
Sure.
Right? And then on top of that, I think when you go into a season and knowing that you're missing 40 games, maybe 50 games, whatever it may be by the time we get Tatum back, right? you kind of buy into that identity that the team is rolling, especially if they are rolling when you do join the team. We've seen it happen a couple of different times throughout LeBron's Laker tenure. You know, I hate to bring up the Lakers, but that's a big example that I think everybody is paying attention to all the time. Is you know, when he's not been there and it's just been AD or whatever. If it's when, you know, after the AD Luka trade, when he's not been there, it's been the Luka team, and the team starts playing the style of basketball of their other star, right? And so they played AD ball for a little bit, and then they play Luka ball. They've been playing Luka ball for most of this season, right? And when LeBron came back into the fold, like he's coming back into the fold now, he's joining in to playing Luka ball. Then once the season was over and you started out fresh and it's all right, now LeBron and Luka are together, or LeBron and AD are together, then they kind of went back to, all right, now we're going to go play LeBron ball. I bring that up to say, I think for the remainder of the season, whenever Jason Tatum does join, it won't be an issue of, are we going to play Tatum ball or are we going to play Brown ball? Because it's going to take Tatum some time to get back to being himself anyways.
Yeah.
And Brown is going to have the team rolling, especially if they continue to keep playing like how they are right now. They'll be rolling into, you know, maybe up to a 4 seed, like you said. Maybe they'll be a 6 seed, like I said.
Maybe better.
Maybe even better. They're sitting 2.5 games behind the 2 seed right now.
Wide open East.
So, you know, they could be up there and say, hey, man, this has been working for us. We love you, JT. You're figuring it out. While you figure it out, let's play this way. And then once the season concludes, hopefully with making an appearance to the finals.
Yep. I don't get plans for June 5th. That's good. Let's do it.
We can they'll sit back and reevaluate what their team is and how they feel about Jason Tatum and what he can do at that point. And then they'll say, okay, yes. But just going back to Tatum ball immediately, especially after not seeing them play basketball for 9 to 10 months, that's crazy.
All right, well, and Tatum said, you know, he did this interview with the Morris twins on their podcast, entertaining. Check it out by all means. He said that, look, he just wants to ball.
Yeah.
You know, it could be a hoop on the side of the road. He just wants to pull up and ball. It's like Jordan was talking about the other night during his Tirico sit-down. Just wants to ball.
Yeah.
And that's great. I promise you what I am about to say is not a criticism. No. It is just a question.
Yes.
Does he come in content, knowing obviously that nobody knows, including him. We talked about this the other day. Yeah. We don't know what he's going to look like.
Right.
You hope that he's going to be 95% of the Jason Tatum we know and love, but he might be 75, 70. We have no idea. Is he comfortable, even eager, to slide in second fiddle to Jaylen Brown, knowing that he's not fully himself?
I think so. And I think even you talked about him being on the Morris Brothers or Twins podcast or whatever, and even in that, he was talking about JB winning a Finals MVP and how he didn't even feel an ounce of jealousy in that moment because he's like, all right, there's going to be my time. I'm going to do what I need to do. He knows at the end of the day, like if he can go back to being Jason Tatum, no matter what, this franchise is going to give him the keys at some point. So like you said, he's always been a guy who's been very just open to the fact of like, I'm just playing basketball and people are going to talk what they want to talk. But, like, I'm just doing what I know how to do to the best of my abilities, and I'm not going to worry about what the outside noise is. Is JB and I a problem? Like, he's not worried about any of that. He's just going to be happy to come back and play basketball. He's going to be happy to be a part of a team that we think now at this point will be a winning team. Mm-hmm. And he'll just be happy to get another opportunity to make a playoff push. And like Sean Grandy said, any team with him and Tate in a Celtics jersey could be a scary opportunity. Nobody wants to see that in the playoff series. So I'll just be excited for that. And that's it. I'm not answering any more questions about JB and JT, all right? Let's talk about the actual basketball game.
All right, well, let's talk about this actual basketball team as it sits right here. Okay. Before we even talk about the game or look ahead to what should be a joke of a game tonight without Jaylen Brown, who's getting a scheduled rest night. I don't care what they call it.
He's sick, dog.
Okay.
Everyone's sick.
Went home from his game.
You see how the people are around this building right now.
People come to work. Please, Jaylen is sick. He's sick of playing against meaningless teams. They're gonna win this one. This is not. I know the Celtics. You know, this one's not at home, but, you know, we always talk about it like, oh, Celtics double-digit favorites at home. Like, how are they going to let us down this time? I have been financially on the wrong side of this multiple times this season alone against Brooklyn and Utah.
Yeah.
I get it. Believe me, I get it. I don't see them stumbling tonight. I think it's going to be just fine. I really genuinely do.
Yes.
This team right now, as we said, up to the 6th seed, sitting at 12-9.
Yes.
You are, as life exists, ahead of Cleveland ahead of Atlanta, ahead of Philadelphia, ahead of Milwaukee.
Yeah.
All teams that at least somebody, if not the odds makers, had ahead of you in the East coming into the year.
100%.
Detroit is obviously has stumbled a little bit,
They've
but Detroit
started to slide.
is sitting at the top of the conference right now, 17-5. Celtics were the ones that started to change the tide on them.
Yeah.
The Raptors, can this continue? Wins an 8 out of 10. We'll see. I'm not a buyer. We'll see.
I'm not a buyer either.
The Knicks, I don't think the Knicks are going anywhere. You know, Knicks
No,
are
the
going to
Knicks
be
are
at or near the top of the conference. The Heat, I think this is a bit of a mirage. And Orlando,
Maybe.
you expect Orlando. I mean, this is Orlando riding the ship off of a slow start.
Yes.
Should be fine.
Star also
especially as
injured,
yeah,
you know what I
especially
mean?
as they get healthier and all of that. Where do the Celtics, not 12-9 Celtics, the winners of 4 of 5 against a gauntlet of a schedule that a lot of people wouldn't have had them sitting 4-1 after,
Yeah.
and there are still some tough games to come that we'll talk about. But this stretch over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, what is this team to you in the bigger picture?
Meaning,
Meaning, is this a team that makes noise in the East? Does more than just sort of bide its time, play 500 ball until Tatum gets back?
you know what? I'll say yes. And the reason I think they make noise in the East is honestly not a reason that everyone's talking about. And I don't think this person is getting enough credit for what they're doing. But Joe Mazzulla is coaching his butt off right now. Like, he is rotating guys in. Like, I know we don't want to talk about this Knicks game too much right now, but like, he changed that game by putting the Terror Twins in. Like, Ugo hadn't been playing crazy minutes or anything like that. Might not have been out of the rotation just a week ago. He puts those two dudes in, and they come in the game and just they junk it up. He goes to early foul, to hack-a-shack mentality against Mitchell Robinson, puts him on the line in the first quarter and says, oh, we're down 17. Like, all right, well, we're going to just put this dude on the line because we know he's not going to make them. And in the first quarter, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to find a way to climb back in this game. Like, he's implementing a lot of different strategies, a lot of different guys. You don't know what Celtics team that you're going to get from night to night, but you know who does know? Joe. Like, he knows what the strings to pull, what buttons to push right now, and that's making this team really dangerous because, I talked to you earlier today. I'm like, what's up with Luka Garza? You know what I mean? Like, he was a guy that we were talking about, you know, a week ago, and now it's like he's out of the rotation. You know, we did the same thing with Minot. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do the same thing with Hauser started the year. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, we're going to do the same.
At some point.
Right. We're going to do the same thing with all these guys where it's like, wait, all of a sudden, this dude who was playing 20 minutes and making all these great plays and getting all these great stops and making all these important baskets is a week later getting DNP's coach's decisions, you know? So, but it's all because Joe is managing the health of his team, which he's doing a fantastic job of, but also knowing, like, hey, tonight, I think this guy can give us minutes here. Tillman randomly comes into the lineup and gives you great minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been that for him, and he deserves the respect for what this team is doing. Obviously, the players do as well, but I think Joe deserves even more than what he's getting.
I think there are a lot of people, you're on the list, I'm on the list, maybe you out there are on the list, who recognize and appreciate Joe Mazzulla's contributions to this team. And as I think Grandy said to us, and I definitely agree with the sentiment, if you just kind of decided somewhere along the way that you don't like Joe Mazzulla, nothing he does right now is going to change your mind.
100%.
But do you think that, you know, you said it, so I guess I already know your answer, but I don't know, should there be a certain, I'm not talking coach of the year or whatever, I don't care as much about that stuff,
Right.
but should there be a certain level of recognition for the job that Joe is doing right now in terms of really coaching, right? Like, a lot of people could look at the teams he's had the last couple of years
Right.
and say, I could do that.
Right.
Like, how hard is it to roll the ball out? Look at all that talent you got.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying truly I could do that, but I
Right.
do believe
But
a
people
lot
say
of
that.
capable NBA coaches could do that. You don't need to be a special coach to have success, to win 60 games with rosters that look the way they looked around Boston the last couple of years.
Yeah.
To
Yes
have
and no.
success with this team
Yeah.
speaks to real ability to coach.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, though. Like, yes and no, you know, because those Warriors teams had Mark Jackson and they were winning and decent, but, like, they got, you know, a new coach and Steve Kerr, and they went off to win championships. Like, sometimes, like Grandy said, like, it's about getting guys to play for you. Doesn't necessarily mean, like, there's been a million talented teams. I mean, Steve Nash had a gauntlet of a team over there in Brooklyn.
Sure.
And could never get it done.
Yeah.
So it's always like.
But LeBron won for like David Blatt.
Yeah, but it's also about managing egos.
Yeah.
Like, you have to remember, Drew Holiday was coming in as a champion, a guy that had been a multiple-time All-Star. KP had come off a year where he had success, and people were like, "Oh, what KP's doing over there with the Wizards is kind of like people are paying attention now." He could have easily came in and been like,
I don't want to be a third, fourth option.
We saw Kyrie do it. We saw Gordon Hayward kind of do it. You know what I'm saying? Where they were like, we saw Terry Rozier tank a team. You know what I mean? No offense to Terry Rozier, but like we saw him do it. We saw Marcus Smart.
He had money.
Marcus Smart. We'll see you on Friday. Marcus Smart. We'll see you on Friday. We saw him feel like he was entitled to being the guy. You know what I'm saying? Anybody on this team, Derek White could have been like, I'm hooping. Everybody's telling me I'm this and that and USA and whoop. And he could have tanked the team last year. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, he bought into his role. And everybody bought into their role because of who Joe Mazzulla is. It's easy for an NBA guy making millions of dollars, $30 million. I'm making $30 million in the league, and I'm shooting the ball 5 times a game. I could easily be like, forget this, get me out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not watching Tatum and Brown shoot 25 shots a game. You know, it's easy to do that, especially after you win a championship. How many dudes have gotten posted off teams like that before? You know what I'm saying? Because they feel like, now, all right, I won. I don't need to win 2. I just got 1. Let me go somewhere else and actually show my game, you know? So it would have been easy for these guys to, you know, not buy in. But to speak to this year's team and what Joe Mazzulla is doing, you know, it's the fact that I think, you know, a lot of these dudes are on these one-year deals, but it's his job to figure out, like, you know, what works best and, like, continue to keep them engaged as well. Like, that's a hard thing to do. Like, knowing that a dude is on a one-year deal and I got to feed my family and I go from playing 20 minutes to the next night I'm playing 2, you know, like that's easy for me to be like, oh, I hate the coach. I went out there and I played well, you know what I mean, decent enough, and now all of a sudden blah, blah, blah's playing or whoopty-whoop's playing. Like, that's hard to deal with as a coach. And he's managed it, you know, 21, 22 games into the season so far. But, man, is he managing it super well. So Joe's just doing everything that you want to see from an NBA coach do, from managing egos, but also the X and O's, which I talked a little bit about before.
All right, quickly before we break, I don't want to do this extensive Wizards preview because genuinely I hope there are no major takeaways from this game. It should just be Celtics go out, take care of business, win this game.
Yeah, you hope you get a D White game, you hope you get a Pritchard game, and then if those two are rolling, everybody else should be rolling, and you should get a win.
Yeah, and maybe whether it's a Walsh or a Minot or a Ugo or Tillman or whoever, like hopefully there's some random solid contribution from one of these guys that you talked about who's kind of been in and out of the rotation or their role or their minutes or what have you. But I do want to ask you, in terms of the Knicks win, a game that the Celtics trailed by as many as 14, also led by as many as 18, and salvage a 6-point win largely because of what they did in the middle quarters there. Is there a big takeaway there from a win like that? It was at home, it wasn't at MSG, but a win like that against a caliber of that competition when, especially in the closing minutes, you know, you struggle, you stumble a little bit, but you still close the door when you have the opportunity.
Yeah, it showed me that this team can and will have the opportunity to get into the 40s and shoot threes and make them and find their way to climb back in the game, but they don't necessarily need that. Like, they'll find different ways to junk up a game and win a game. That's what I took away from that. It's not necessarily one way like it used to be where it's we're going to shoot the 3, we're going to live and die by it. If it's going in, we're going to be blowing people out in quarters. If it's not going in, we're not going to be blowing people out in quarters. We might be even with them or probably down a few points, right? It was, okay, JB's turning the ball over. We're not scoring. This is not working. Okay, let's go put some defensive dogs in. All right, cool. But then you have the other nights where it is, all right, yeah, JB is scoring, Peyton Pritchard scoring, because Peyton Pritchard also kind of got off to a slow start in this game, you know, and they figure out a way. So this team can wear a lot of different masks and find ways to win basketball games, which tells you that they are good. That doesn't necessarily mean great. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get on we're going to play on June 5th, you know what I'm saying?
You got me all hyped for that.
You know, I would love to see it. I'm a little bought into it right now, you know, feeling the JV coming back, watching that Knicks win, watching, Spike Lee have to go home sad, you know. In there in the building, feeling that TD Garden energy. It rejuvenated me, Adam.
That's right, you were there.
So, yeah, shout out to this team. They can wear a lot of different masks, and that's what makes them dangerous right now.
We keep talking about how bad the Wizards are. 3-17, last in the East, second worst in the NBA, simply because the Pelicans exist. It is Hold My Banner, but on also AKA we're trading Anfernee Simons. When we come back, we're going to tell you the next great Celtics big man. Stick around on Nessa Nation. We are here on Hold My Banner and AP Hoops on Twitter. There have been, quote, mixed signals about Ivica Zubac's availability, but it figures I trip on that word. But the starting price for the Star Center is 2 first-round picks, according to Brett Siegel of Clutch Points. Boston has Simons, a guard, LA's expressed interest in, and multiple picks. Boston does have the picks, could use a big man. Obviously is not shy on the idea of getting rid of Anfernee Simons and salary dumping that deal. The money works, obviously. They make similar, just sub $30 million contracts for this season. And I know I just said, we were talking about this 2 days ago. Like, would you trade Simons to the Nets? What would you need in return? Would you attach a first-round pick if it meant getting Claxton back, that kind of thing? I was very resistant to the idea of having to throw in a first-round selection with Simons. Like, isn't getting rid of Simons and offloading that deal enough? We got to attach considerable draft pick compensation. Maybe I've softened on that a little bit. Simply because the more I think about it, if the Celtics are what they're supposed to be, right, are who we think they are, then generally speaking, those draft picks are not going to be good. You know, it's going to be in the mid to late 20s if everything goes as it's supposed to for the Celtics. Not to say that a late first-round pick is meaningless. It's not, but it is a crapshoot when it comes to obviously the kind of player you're getting. So Zubac. He's been a Clipper. He's been an LA guy, Lakers then Clippers. He's been a Clipper for a long time. Yes. And increasingly better. He's a double-double, walking double-double. He averages basically 16 and 12. He's 32. He's not a spring chicken. No. But you need size, and you need a legit rebounder and rim protector and might just have a taker. Now, the multiple first-round picks, I'm not looking to give up multiple firsts for Zubac, but what about you?
So that's the thing. So you talk about how the picks will be in the late 20s, and you get small windows to win championships in this league. You really do. Mm-hmm. And if you...
Thank God the Celtics won one.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe a team with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Ivica Zubac, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, right? And then whatever else you can have around that, obviously Kata, Hauser, maybe some other pieces, whatever, right? Do you think that core group, those first 5 people that I named, could be the start to a championship team?
I believe that in the here and now, obviously Giannis could be traded. Could he go to the West? Could he go to another team in the East? I don't know. We'll get to that, by the way. But right now, what you just outlined, I believe you have as good a chance as anyone to come out of the East. Okay. Now, I still think, because you talk about windows, and I know injuries and that sort of thing are completely unpredictable. Right. I still think if you had that roster or a version of that roster, maybe even add to it just a little bit more somehow. Right. But you're going against the Thunder or the Nuggets, I think you're getting waxed. I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, I mean, the Thunder and the Nuggets have their own financial issues to deal with.
They do, but we're talking about this year.
Yes.
And their financial issues are not changing this year.
Yeah, and I wasn't even necessarily speaking towards this year. I'm more or less looking, I'm still, I know I said, finals, blah, 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 June 5th, whatever. But I'm still looking towards next year. Like, a fully healthy Tatum with some games under his belt, right? Back to hopefully what we think could be MVP level form, right? Tatum, with JB playing as great as he's playing right now, right? And then Zubac added into that lineup. And then Derek White going back to kind of being the guy that has to be the fourth option versus the second option on the team. So you would assume his numbers and all that stuff would also tick up and get back to the form that they were. I just feel like when you're looking at that team, right? Yeah, you said 32. At that time, Zubac would be 33. Tatum will be 28. JB 29. Derek White 31. Like, that fits in that range. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I have an opportunity, if I'm Brad Stevens, I think that Zubac can at least get me there, at least get the ball rolling towards a championship team, and then maybe whatever. Yeah, maybe you do move Hauser, or maybe you do move a Baylor Scheiman and Jordan Walsh. I don't know what those moves would be, right? To get something that you feel like is a little bit more oomph instead of the depth piece that the Celtics have right now, where there's a lot of guys who are great at playing 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. Maybe you find somebody who can come in there and play a great 25 minutes for you. I would say I'm cool with losing the 26 and 28 first-round pick. I'm cool with that.
Well, let me ask you stylistically. Like, we've been talking all about Missoula. Every time we mention Sean Grandy's name today, I think he gets $1. So Grandy was on with us the other day.
Right.
And he was talking about Keita.
Yes.
And he said, Keita, if not top 5, certainly top 10 center in the league right now, the way that he is playing.
Right.
Pure center, right? We're not talking about power forwards or anything like we're pure center. If you acquire Zubac, who also is a pure center,
100%.
Are you all of a sudden a double big team, or is Keita coming off the bench?
I don't think so, but
changing?
I think you can play those lineups. I think it makes you. It helps you out when you have those opportunities to play those lineups, because then maybe you run a lineup with Derek White at the 1, JB at the 2, Tatum at the 3, and then the duo bigs. Because we saw against that Utah Jazz team, which we know is a horrible loss for this Boston Celtics team, but they went out there and ran 3 bigs, essentially, and that was the reason that this Boston Celtics team ended up losing that game, So you want to be able to fight against a Thunder team that can
well, I guess
run
that's
a
what I'm
2-big
wondering.
lineup.
Do you think
a Denver team that can run a 2-big lineup? Those teams can go that way.
We spent over the last couple of years. I at least spent so much time. I'm sure you did as well, talking about how the Celtics' depth, maybe not necessarily 1 through 5, but certainly 1 through 8, 1 through 9, were as good, if not better, than anybody else in the NBA.
100%.
That's not the case anymore, based on the offseason moves. Now, that doesn't mean some of those bottom of the rotation guys that you have aren't showing signs and improving and getting better, and we could maybe one day view them in that light.
Right.
But to you, in your mind, and it's hard to compare because the Celtics, I've often said, like, they entered the season with a G League caliber front court.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they are a legit big, a Claxton, a Zubac, a whatever center we trade for on Tuesday next week, away from, really going up to that next level to where, you could make a run in the East to, I'm a contender?
Yeah, I do. Because I think a lot of the nights you do go into the game thinking like, all right, the downfall of the Celtics tonight could be the bigs. How often are you going into games right now where you're like, oh yeah, like the downfall of the Celtics could be that they couldn't guard somebody on the perimeter? You're not. Like, Jordan Walsh has kind of dissipated those fears for us. JB's dissipated those fears for us. Derek White obviously still doing a great job defensively for this team, dissipating those fears for us. Even Peyton Pritchard playing tremendous defense right now, playing even better than what most people probably thought he could do. So a lot of these defense on the perimeter hasn't been the thing that you've been afraid of. It's been what can you do protecting at the rim? So yes, adding big and then adding JT does put me at this team could be a contender, especially if you're going to get a big like Zubac who does it every night. I mean, this dude is giving you 18 and 10 every night. It's not like he's not the guy giving you 30 and 20 and then the next night getting you 8 and 5.
No,
That's not
consistent.
who he does. He's consistent every single night. I love Anfernee Simons. You and I both really like what Anfernee Simons can do in this league. The fit isn't perfect here.
Nope.
He's doing a lot of great things. Sometimes it's not as great when the shot's not going in, right? And the fit's not perfect here. It would be better somewhere else. So when he is having those nights where he's throwing up donuts, we've seen it.
Yep.
It hurts this team's ceiling. It hurts their ability to do a lot of different things. So having a big like Zubac, who I know, or even if it were Claxton, who I know, every single night it's going to be this. There are some flaws in their game. They don't extend it out to 15 and do all these other things. But like every single night, I know they're going to be physical. I know they're going to block shots. I know they're going to get rebounds. I know they're going to put the ball in the hole when they're next to the rim. And then you're adding Keita with that depth piece in the back line to be a sec. Now he's coming off the bench. Like, that's a scary sight. I think they could beat any team in the East and think that they should beat any team in the East when they have the guys playing like how they're playing right now, inspired and playing hard, adding a talent as great as Jason Tatum is, and then adding, a big solidifier. I just think that it will take a year, half a year, whatever the rest of the time for Tatum is, and then whenever this trade potentially does happen, to, mesh together and figure that out and Joe to find his team. And then once you had that for half a season, I think next year is a team that would be a team that everybody fears in the league, not just the Eastern Conference, but the Western Conference as well.
We're going to keep doing this inevitably until the trade deadline when Simons is either gone or he's then around the rest of the year, and we'll have to drop it, obviously, at that point, because then I can't imagine he's back and re-signed and what he'd have to come back so cheap.
So, before you move on.
Yeah.
Simons and 2 picks. Now that we've discussed all of this.
For Zubac.
You doing it or you out?
And my feeling, here's basically what it is. I'm hemming and hawing because my initial reaction is I'm out. I'm not doing it. But I know it's something I could talk myself into because I do think highly of Zubac and I believe in a lot of what you talked about.
I'm there, like you said, and it's the same thing we talked about Claxton earlier on in the week. Like, not now.
Right.
January, I'm in.
Right.
December, I'm out.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that the Celtics should consider.
Yeah, this is the only, I know we got a break. This is the only thing that I will kind of leave you with, I guess. And this report, came from Clutch Points. There was the Claxton one Tuesday. I don't remember where that was from. But the point is, none of this is from like Shams, Shelburne, Haynes, these reputable national NBA reporters, never mind anybody locally here, obviously. But is there an inevitability to this?
Right.
Is this just, aggregating and clickbaiting and all that stuff? Or do you believe that the team is just actively trying to get rid of Simons?
Yeah, I mean, it would only make sense, right?
Yeah.
It's an expiring contract and, there are assets, but like first round picks do mean something. You know what I mean? And you don't want to have to use them if you don't have to. If you're going to lose this asset, you might as well get something out of it, especially if you can lose this asset without giving up the other ones, like you're alluding to, right? Like if you can go without giving up draft capital and you can get something of worth to you for the Boston Celtics for Anfernee Simons, then yeah, obviously you should be trying to do that.
All right, well, Giannis Antetokounmpo theoretically is available from Milwaukee. Of course, now he's sidelined for possibly a month, who knows, maybe longer, with an injury that he suffered last night after these reports came out. And Chris Paul, Clippers gave him the old, get out, go! So he's available out there at the ripe old age of 40 years old, at least basketball old. Talk about these guys and potential fits with the Boston Celtics when we come on back on Nesson Nation. All right, we're back with you. Shams Charania, we mentioned him, ESPN. Justin! Giannis Antetokounmpo and his agent have started conversations with the Milwaukee Bucks about the two-time NBA MVP's future and discussing whether his best fit is staying or elsewhere. A resolution expected in the coming weeks. Well, that resolution may be pushed off just a little bit because, of course, he goes out, suffers a calf strain, non-contact last night. I mean, the timing is just so NBA, obviously, out there, Ountae. And not to jump ahead a level, but we were talking about this off the air, the fact that oftentimes you look around the NBA and these calf strains can be precursors to Achilles injuries. Yeah. We saw it with Tatum. We saw it with Durant. We've seen it with multiple guys that go on to miss considerable time.
Damian
and so,
Lillard,
yeah, absolutely. And so, and Halliburton as well. So, look, Giannis is still elite, one of the top handful of players in the world. He's incredible. But now he's going to miss 2 to 4 weeks at minimum I know Doc Rivers is out there doing his little song and dance about how Giannis has never asked for a trade. Sure, like Doc's never lied. But, man, this is now all of a sudden, if you're a team out there, and I know he wants to go to the Knicks, according to all reports, and we locally like to have that, would you trade Jaylen Brown for him conversation, which, by the way, it's not going to happen.
And I don't want it to happen, so I'm glad you're grazing over that. So
right.
Go ahead, continue.
But if you're a team out there, Spurs, Rockets, whoever, if Giannis, broadened his horizons in terms of where he'd be interested in going, because as we know how it works with these superstars sort of dictating their destinations. It hamstrings the organizations. You got to worry about, well, how much am I going to give up for a guy that could be damaged goods? Yeah,
especially, like you said, after looking at this injury. I think, like, Giannis's talent and the fact that he also had a similar calf strain in 24 at the end of that season, and then came back in 20, at the beginning of the season, 24, 25 season, came back and did, damage, and it was pretty good. He was Giannis, you know what I'm saying? Like, he misses time, that's what he does, but, he still looked athletic, he still looked fresh, still looked like Giannis. So I think that will kind of like dissipate a little bit of the worries that teams may have. If you're a team looking to get immediate help, you're probably like, I don't want to trade for Giannis right now, because you're going to have to give up something that means something to you. It will be picks, but not only that, you'll have to give up probably an asset that's hopefully helping you win right now. So, they might want to wait until they get closer, until he's supposed to be back to make that deal.
I don't know about the helping you win right now part. Don't you think if you're the Bucks, you're dealing Giannis knowing full well that you're entering a rebuild? So,
no, I'm talking about the team that's accepting him back onto their team. So if you're the Spurs right now, who are playing pretty well, already missing a star, right?
And you're wanting him to help put you over the hump, be it this year, next year.
Exactly. So you're not going to, want to make this deal right now to lose a Castle, a Harper, or
He's
whatever.
also, by the way, going to be due 4 years, almost $300 million on a max contract in October.
That's going to be tough to trade for. It is. It just really is, because not a lot of teams have cap space right now, or are willing to go into the luxury tax, or deep into the luxury tax, into the second apron and stuff like that for a guy that they're not sure if he's going to be, Giannis, because the calf injury does kind of scare you for the Achilles thing that you brought up. So, here's what I'll say. I know you don't want to talk about JB, and I'm fine with not talking about JB once again, but
we did it on Boston Has Entered the Chat this morning. It's available to you, Nessie's YouTube page. Check it out.
Should the Celtics be trying to get involved?
I think the Celtics should be trying to get involved, absolutely. But it's not to acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's to the old,
we saw that they like Simons.
It's the old Danny Ainge special of be that third facilitator team to help make the money and everything work. And that's but seriously, that's your opportunity to offload Simons' contract. Without giving up draft capital, ideally. You get something probably in return. Now, it's not necessarily going to be, a caliber of the player of Zubac or no, even like a Zubac or a Claxton. But you could get something in return, maybe a serviceable big man that comes in and helps you enough, not gets you over the hump or whatever, makes you a contender, but helps you enough to where it's like, okay, we got rid of Simons' contract, dead weight, if they're going to use him the way they're using him anyway, and got something in return. And Giannis went somewhere else, hopefully the Western Conference in an ideal world. But that's how they get involved, to me. I think that's absolutely on the table. Do you see it differently?
No, I mean, you were talking through it, and I was like, Adam's making some good points. He throwing them body shots right now. He throwing them body shots. No, because, third team, you offload the Simons deal, you get involved, you get something.
Could be Hauser, too.
Yeah.
Could be a Hauser contract.
It could be. It's just like, what? You know what I mean? It's like, what are you getting back? Like, I like it in propriety, but like, what bigs are available that aren't Zubac and Claxton? And, anything could be available with Giannis's name attached to it. But, center is not, we talked about.
But I mean, like,
we
look
talked about,
at the Knicks. Like, is Towns available? No, probably not really. Is Bridges available? No, not really. But are they available if it means getting Giannis? Yeah, they're available.
Right, but it's like, okay, so let's just say it is the Knicks are getting involved, right? And then now Mitchell Robinson is on the way to the Boston Celtics. Like, am I excited about that? Like, not really. Am I?
Over Simons and that contract?
I mean, I just told you how we hack a shot. You can't even play this dude in the playoffs. He's never healthy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't play him in the playoffs because he can't make a free throw. Can't
Right.
score the ball efficiently.
Right.
So it's like, do I really want to add that to my team right now? I'm not really interested in that. So you're like, yes, I'm with you.
Right.
But I need to know.
Yeah, I need to know who.
I need to know who.
I need to know who.
Right.
I get it. We don't know.
We don't know.
But I think if the Celtics get involved, because they're not trading Jaylen Brown for him. And I said this earlier on chat. Like, if I'm Brad Stevens, because Jaylen, for better or worse, man, this dude continues to have a boulder-sized chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he has not forgotten getting booed on draft night. He has not forgotten every time that he has been dangled in trade rumors along the way, dating back to, when Anthony Davis was still a Pelican.
Right.
Like, he's
been dangled in every trade rumor.
He's hung on to all of these things.
Yes.
Just like Ray Allen did back in the day in a very, much shorter tenure.
Right.
But if I'm Brad, I am running to JB just to say, listen, there's going to be noise out there.
Right.
You're going to hear it. You're going to see it. It's going to be reported, all of these things. You need to know, like, we've been around each other your whole career.
Right.
You need to know, coming from me, trust the words coming out of my mouth. You are not involved in this.
Right.
We are not trading you.
Yes.
Doesn't mean he's not getting traded at some point, but he's not going in this deal for Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's not happening. Nor, by the way, do I think the Bucks would want Jaylen Brown. Because, again, if you are entering...
Like you said, rebuild.
Rebuild.
Right.
Jaylen's not a rebuild guy.
Yes.
Jaylen's a star in the league right now. Now, if you could get a Castle, a Harper, something like that from San Antonio, now we're talking rebuild.
Right.
Jaylen's not a rebuild.
No,
Jaylen's
he's not
making $300 million.
Right. He's not a rebuild piece, especially like we said, about to enter into into his 30s. But we do need to talk about somebody who's also not a rebuild piece and definitely not a spring chicken. Clippers have informed Chris Paul that he is being sent home per Chris B. Haynes. Which I think
slam the door on him.
Which I think is funny because Chris Paul was kind of the one that actually let us know. Like, as you guys see there, he said, just found out I'm being sent home
I think
on Instagram at 3:30 in the morning Eastern time for us. So you were probably all asleep. But this was a couple of days ago. Everybody knows about this deal and what's going on with that. Is this the last we see of Chris Paul?
So this is a cop-out answer. I think it's up to him. He's talked about how he hasn't been, he's bounced around from team to team to team over the last half dozen years.
Yes.
Hasn't really been around for his family, for his kids. They've lived apart, especially the last half dozen years. He wants to be a dad. Like his oldest, I think, is 16 years old and basically hasn't seen the kid, since 10.
Right.
Like no, I mean, this is like, these are the elements that we don't talk about that legitimately, for all the money these guys make, luxurious travel, never have to worry about anything, some of these things are very real. Like, can you imagine? I can't. Like, I've got 3 kids. I can't fathom living away from them.
Yeah. Luka had to fly to Slovenia to go
for the birth of his child. Yeah, like imagine living away from, your children at adolescent, young, developing ages, and you're just like catching up on FaceTime and Zooms and all that. And like, no. So Chris Paul is 40. He could very well sit there and say, I'm good. Like, I don't want to leave again. This is the reason I came back to LA, to blend basketball and family. I want to be a dad.
Right.
Now, this is without looking at any sort of cap situations around the league or anything like that. Lakers want a 40-year-old veteran to just sort of chill out behind the scenes. Problem is, what kind of guy are they getting?
Right.
And I'm not even talking about the player. The player sucks. He can't play anymore. He can't. But in terms of a locker room leader and veteran presence and all of these things, an extension of your coaching staff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ty Lue kind of made it sound like he was a problem.
Yeah, well,
he wasn't a productive member of the team.
Well, yeah, they asked Ty Lue about how he felt about the Chris Paul situation. Let's take a listen and see how he felt about it.
I don't like it. It just didn't work out like we thought it would. And like I said, I don't like it for CP. But it just wasn't a good fit, and we understood that. And so, like I said, it was an organization, they made the choice, and so moving forward, we got to see what we do. So, we'll see.
Yeah, so look, as far as the where for Chris Paul, again, does he want to keep playing? Is he okay going out like this? It would be a shame if he went out like this, obviously,
Yes,
as a guy that
100%.
has accomplished
He deserves
as
more
much as
respect
he
than
has.
this. He does.
And this is the farewell year. Like,
Right.
if your last memory in the NBA is like on the plane ride home being told you're done,
Right.
Go home.
Right, and I thought it was
pay you to
weird that
not
like
be here?
a week ago there was reports that he was retiring. I thought we already knew that. So
Yeah.
that it all makes sense.
I'm just saying, like, Chris Paul getting the Keith Bogans treatment on his way out the door is tough. All right, we're going to come on back. Some games, right? Game time here on Hold My Banner. We got you a few more minutes here on Hold My Banner. Thanks for being with us. Again, we come your way Tuesdays, Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on Nesson Nation. If you missed the shows live, you can always check them out in full on the Nesson YouTube page. Ountae, Adam, and game time here, Ountae.
Wicket or kick it, bow, bow, bow. It's been a little while since we did some wicket or kick it action. And then first up, Adam, I got to hit you with a fire outfit.
Uh-oh.
Shout out to Kyle Kuzma for this one in League Fits. What do you think about this outfit, Adam?
Can we zoom in, give him a head to toe?
Uh-oh.
This scarf is a lot for me. This scarf is a lot. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I look at some outfits and I reject them out of jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I couldn't pull it off, and therefore, why should this guy get to? Yeah, I'm not into this one. I'm not. I don't have an issue with the rolled up pant. I don't have an issue with that. The scarf is just this is like the sweater that just kept growing and growing and growing, that meme that existed out there on Twitter for a little while, you
the
remember?
pink one.
Yeah, the pink one. Oh, it was like bigger than the planet after a while. Like, if we get a certain number of likes, we'll keep making it another size, another size, another. I expect someone to do that with the scarf.
Oh, man.
This scarf is going to be dragging on the ground.
I kind of agree with you. You know what he looks like to me, Adam? He looks like a Zara model trying to rob a bank. Or not even a bank. He looks like he's trying to rob a train. Like, that's how old-fashioned this outfit looks. Look, I think Kyle Kuzma has a lot of fashion sense, obviously. He has a lot of people around him after being in L.A. He was very fashion-forward and chic and all this other stuff. Sometimes he skews too far from the mission, just like that pink sweater that one time. This one is a kick it for me, but it's a light kick it. Like, I think that there's some notes that he can keep in this, like the rolled pants, maybe the boots, that scarf.
It's like he's showing up
with his tattoo,
Sherlock
with his
Holmes
chest out almost.
wannabe costume party.
That part has got to go. So I'm gonna give it like a 4.6 out of 10 on this one. All right, switching over to another guy with another fit. You know I have to bring back the flare pants because you hated it. Jimmy Butler, shout out to League Fits. How do you feel about this one, AK?
These pants are too much. I can't even tell he's wearing shoes. It's too much. Look at this. It's too much. This man has a big foot. He is a basketball player.
Yeah.
He is tall. He's got a huge foot. Think about how that opening at the bottom of those pants, I could probably put my head through.
Yeah, you probably could. He's a big guy.
I'm serious.
Oh, man.
I'd kick it.
This looks like a Miami fit. I know he's over there in Golden State now, but this, it feels like a Miami fit. You know what? I'm going to like this one because I told you about this game before off air, but Jet Set Radio was one of my favorite games as a kid. And it's like a skater game. You're on like roller skates though, and you do all these tricks and all this other stuff. And back in the day, like in that late 90s, early 2000s, people will rock these kind of outfits in video games, and they're doing all different types of skating. The fighting games had them in it. The football games, like NFL Street, had them in it.
Right.
It brings me back to those days. I think this is a fire fit. Shout out to Jimmy Butler. I'm going to give this one, like, it's kind of, like an 8.2
Jimmy just tries too hard to be a trendsetter with, like, the hair on media day every year. He's looking for attention.
I think this one is
a little more subtle.
A simple one, a subtle one. All right, now we're going to move over to a guy that we're going to see this weekend, hopefully, RJ Barrett. With this fit, shout out to League Fits for this one as well. What do you think about this one, AK?
I love this one. I do. This is definitely a wicked. I don't know, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the simplicity of it that I really like, and obviously I dig the, the The black-white contrast always looks good to me when I see it on people in general. Like I feel like if I could pull this look off, I would do it every day. I'm all about it. I don't really have anything constructive to say about it because I like it that much.
RJ Barrett's like 6'8", 6'9", something like that.
Okay.
I know he's a prodigy of Steve Nash. I think he's a godfather or something like that. This jacket looks like it fits on Steve Nash. This is can we zoom into this jacket for a little bit? Like, this jacket is young.
I guess that's on
this
me
jacket
for
is younger than Deuce Tatum.
The medium.
It's barely hanging onto his body. It's clinging on for dear life.
Yeah,
you know what he looks like?
Coat.
You know exactly what he looks like? I got picture evidence to show you what he looks like.
Okay.
He looks like Dennis from SpongeBob movie. If you remember Dennis with the boot, with the spiked boot, that's what he looks like in this photo. Look at the contrast.
That's good.
I can't give him Wicked
I guess
for this one, I can't. Those boots are too big. And that jacket is too little, dog.
I was looking past the size of the coat and just admiring the style, and I got lost in it. I like it, complete with the sunglasses, by the way. It's like, doesn't it just, like, this is something, I feel like I've seen this look from Will Smith in like a Bad Boys movie or something like that.
You probably have, but Will Smith makes it look a lot better. All right,
Yeah.
on the way out,
Yeah.
League Pass game of the weekend. What are you tuning into this weekend?
Nothing tonight. I mean, Celtics, obviously, but nothing tonight. I'm going to go to tomorrow. How about Nuggets at Hawks?
Okay.
All right. I mean, you got some. I know the Hawks are banged up, but they're still over 500. A team that should be competitive in this Eastern Conference, and I just love watching the Nuggets all the time. Jokic. I mean, it is a gift to be alive when he is playing basketball.
Fair enough. Petty hoops for me. Suns at Rockets tomorrow night. Dylan Brooks revenge game. KD should actually be playing in this one since he skirted out the last one against the Suns. I'm excited for that. Should be fun to watch.
All right, that one tomorrow as well, so make sure you tune in to those. Our thanks to everyone part of this show. Jenny, everyone behind the scenes, Toby, obviously, and Ountae. I can't wait to see where we trade Anfernee Simons next. Celtics going to go out, take care of business tonight against the Wizards, make it 5 out of 6, 8 out of 11. Bye-bye.
Peace.